Mm. 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 There we go. Mm. 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 Hello. Mm. Hello. Welcome, David. Mm. Norton. Mm. Mm. I overslept. Ah. Mm. 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 David, can you hear me? You're muted. Mm. Uh-huh. Mm. 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 Mm.
Pyro,
David,
can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know what it is, but it took a little bit to get hooked up here today. So how you doing?
Oh, so I just woke up. I was late.
Yeah, I see that. How come your
Oh,
picture's upside down? There you go.
okay.
There you go.
Mm.
So how many people? You getting a lot of people to attendees in the morning or what? What's going on?
Mm. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it they come in little by little. Maybe there was some waiting, but they gave up and left.
Oh,
I just I just got in at 4 minutes ago.
yeah, I see that. I was wondering if I was doing the right thing
Were,
there or not.
were
But
you waiting?
oh yeah, I started logging in at 7 o'clock. I don't know what it is now. Oh, it's 7:20 now. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Thanks for waiting. Time after time.
For sure, huh?
Yes. Mm.
So what's the deal with this thing that you come up with about Mark? And
Mark?
yeah, there was some video that you did by a fellow out in California regarding the association of the Gospel of Mark to the Greek mythology.
Mm.
What
Yes.
what did you think of that?
Oh, yes. I learned that Mark, mm, well, the theory is that uh, see, Mark is the it's like the older, maybe the older gospel, and the one that the others they kind of follow except John. But the other two after Mark, they kind of follow along what Mark was saying. So maybe Mark is the oldest one, and so where did Mark get his ideas? So the theory is maybe he got his ideas or like from stories that were out there popular from Greek mythologies. Mm, and let's see, like the the Greek mythology of was it, which one could it have been? Like Ulysses or the Odyssey? Well, where there's uh, a lot of episodes where things are going on. So maybe he got ideas that resembled that one. Not exactly, but uh, say something happened and and he said, "Oh, this story of Jesus needs that kind of story." Hmm.
Well, the thing is, when I seen that, it interested me, so I watched the video of that fellow out there, and I believe that a lot of that is some of the stuff that he has there is very true. As a matter of fact, I've thought that for a long time. But the only thing is, Mark was not the first gospel. The first gospel was either John or Matthew, because the people that wrote those two gospels, okay, I'm not saying it was one person, John or whatever, but the thing is, they were actual disciples, because it's claimed so in the writing that they were disciples of Jesus Christ, both in Matthew and in John. Okay, and there's an order to Matthew that goes strictly along with the prophecy of Jesus Christ, and it doesn't happen with Mark. If anything, what happened was the author of Mark got his information from Matthew. Okay, so he got secondhand information. But the thing is, Jesus Christ, at that time, you see, the Greek culture was the predominant. That's like a person speaking Spanish living in America. The Greek language was everything. And it even was, and after Rome took over into about 300 AD, Greek language dominated the communication forms in Europe and also in Northern Africa. But the thing is, after that, the Latin American language, the Latin language became the predominant one only because of the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church actually ruled Europe for, maybe 1,000 years, So they sort of pushed out all the Greek myths, but the Greek myths were so ingrained into culture, they couldn't get rid of Homer. They couldn't get rid of the mythology that was there. So that all came through. And also Plato's writings really matched what the Romans wanted to do. So the thing is, that's how come our country a lot of it is based on the writings of Plato, the way our military is formed, and, many other different things that really exist. But as far as Jesus Christ goes, I believe that he did learn from the Greeks, because if you look at Antisthenes, I don't know if you know who Antisthenes is or not, but Antisthenes was one of the disciples of Socrates, and he was one of the oldest ones. And the thing is, if you read Xenophon, he talks a lot in Xenophon's, I don't know what they call it, a piece that he wrote, regarding Antisthenes, and he gives a lot of insight on Socrates. But the thing is, he also some of his what do you call it, quotes, okay, also reflect some of the teachings of Jesus in the gospel. I mean, they're almost direct, only they're spoken in a different way. So that makes me think that Jesus Christ actually learned a lot of what, God showed him, in his adult life, okay, from the culture around him, which was Greek as well as Hebrew. He knew Hebrew as well. I think the man probably spoke, as a man, 2 languages, maybe 3, because he probably maybe even knew the Latin language as well. Because when he was crucified, according in John, it says that Pilate put up a sign above Jesus Christ in 3 different languages, saying that he was the king of Israel. And, that there would match the time because those are the 3 languages that were spoken. But when you see the other gospels, okay, they only say that, they put up a sign. They don't even say what language it was in. But in John, it does. It's very specific, So what he was saying, I believe is true. And as a matter of fact, I think I came across information a couple of years ago with that same guy in California that made that video. And I tried to find him at that time, but I couldn't. There was, some information that he was tying the Gospels to, Greek mythology. And I seen that, but for some reason I tried to look him up, but I couldn't. So anyway, the thing is, what happened was after I watched that video, I sent a guy a email, to his website, but never heard back from him, regarding all this stuff. Because I'd like to learn more from what the guy had to say about that situation,
No,
But
look what, are you seeing what I'm showing?
yeah, I
Do
see
you
that.
see what I'm showing?
Yeah, I see that. I know that Mark has generally agreed to be the first author of the Bible, because that's what they teach in seminary. That's what the Catholics all teach, that Mark is superior. But the thing is, Mark does not have the order to it that the Gospel of number 1 Matthew does. And Mark does not. As a matter of fact, Mark is one of the disciples of Paul. They even mentions that in the epistles, So the thing is, to me, personally, Mark is just a takeoff of Matthew, and so is Luke. Luke is also a disciple of Paul. Now, whether it was these things were actually, perhaps Mark was written down before Matthew and John, but the thing is, those Gospels existed in the hearts of people long before Mark came out, because it's obvious that they were passed down through the apostles of Jesus Christ as disciples. And the 2, you can even find the 2, because there's other Gospels out there too, like Thomas. Thomas has his own, and Philip, and they all match up with Matthew.
Oh, do you see that? Do you see that that graph? That chart?
Yeah.
Is saying that the purple color, Mark, Luke, and Matthew, they get their source from some unknown tradition. Maybe that's the Q, or maybe.
Well, I know. The thing is,
the Gospel of Mark, the triple tradition, the Q, the double tradition, and material unique to Matthew, the M, and Luke, the L, and Mark. So it's showing what percentage that they have in common, things like that.
Well, it doesn't make any difference what's in common. The thing is,
like Mark and Luke, they only have 3% in common, and Mark and Matthew, it looks like they only have 18% or 10%. That's weird.
That's true, because Mark is there's so much to that. Believe in this guy, that's why I wanted to talk to him about this. But the thing is, he's totally unavailable because, I mentioned some of these other things that were in there. And the thing is, he's unwilling to discuss it. So to me, maybe he's dead. I don't know. But the thing is, I didn't hear from him,
the double tradition, that's the Q source. It's what's common between Luke and Matthew. So they suspect that there's a source that Luke and Matthew got their stuff from, and it's about 23 and 24% for each. And then Luke has things that are unique to Luke. That's a big 35%. And Matthew has things that are unique to Matthew. That's 20%. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but his graph is all wrong, because the thing is, what you have to do, if he's going to make a connection like that, he has to go to the prophecy of Jesus Christ in Deuteronomy chapter 18:18, and he doesn't do that. And the thing is, if you do the connection with Deuteronomy 18:18, that connects with all of John, and it connects with all of Matthew. And the thing is, the Gospel of Mark, it only connects probably a small percentage because Mark is the smallest. It doesn't say hardly anything in Mark compared to the Gospel of Matthew. You can look up the amount of chapters. The thing is, Luke is much better written, but once again, you got contradictions between Luke and John, because in Luke he's saying that Jesus was 30 years old, and the thing is in John, where the Pharisees are talking to people that he knew, saying he was 50 years old. So the thing is, what are you going to do? Believe the source of somebody that's younger, or somebody where Jesus Christ lived all his life, and the people knew him. They knew him. They had to know him, because people did not move then, you know. But the only thing is, they teach that Jesus was 30 years old. They do that so that they can bring young people into the clergy, because that's what was necessary. That was what was necessary for the old Israelite teachings. But Jesus destroyed them. Jesus destroyed all those Israelite teachings, except for those of Moses.
Well, this article is a gathering of all the you could say the scholars that have looked at it, and it's different from the tradition, the tradition that ascribes that maybe Matthew was first, and that he was in
tradition throughout the church from the time of Christ almost has been that Matthew was the oldest and the first to gospel.
So first,
I mean, that's nothing new. I'm just saying to you that what I have learned by reading and studying these gospels is that's a big lie. The thing is, everybody's been deceived about this whole thing as far as religion goes, because the thing is, it's really not what they say. Jesus Christ was tied very much into the thinking of like Socrates. Socrates and Jesus are very similar in their own way. But the only thing is, Jesus goes much further in depth, so that you can take and really understand that he truly was the Son of God. And he explains that God is a spirit. God is not a person. He didn't learn from people. Jesus Christ learned from the Spirit of God. And the thing is, so did Socrates, a lot of the things that he has, but he spoke as a person, as a man, not as a spirit of God. Jesus Christ did. It's a big difference, because Jesus Christ, he tells it all out. And if somebody's willing to take the time to understand what he's saying, he's got a whole different message than what they present in the church. They present really Paul's message and Mark's message inside of mainline Christianity. When I say mainline Christianity, I'm talking about, all of the non-denominational, denominational, and also your Catholic Church. They all teach the same thing. Then none of them teach the gospel of Jesus Christ. None of them. They just teach what they want to out of it, so that people learn what they want them to learn. It's sort of like what's going on now with the internet and the government taking and forcing everybody to believe what has been fact-checked has been fact-checked, and what is right. And the government is creating the own gospel by altering different words, the definition of words, So it's totally different than what people think. It's not at all what people think. I'm sorry to, rant like I am, but I've just studied this for so long, and I understand it. And it's a travesty what's going on in our lives today. And it's a travesty what are you still there?